terms of what to say to couples that are out there. In the secular world, they compare it to a tea kettle on the fire. You put the water into the pot, it starts to boil, it starts to give off a lot of noise, it's very excited, it's very good, but once you take it off the fire, put it on the counter, it starts to fizzle out, it starts to get cold. So in the secular world, that's what they compare marriage. It's all exciting in the beginning, it's all passion, it's all love, and then after a while it just starts to fizzle out. But I heard something even better. You want to make the tea, so you grab for the little tea bag. And the tea bag is really cute, comes in a little package, smells good, and then you open it up and you see there's some strings attached to the whole thing. And before you know it, you dunk yourself into hot water. And after a while, it doesn't make any more sense. But that's a secular view of what marriage is all about. And for us, within the Bukhari community and beyond, we have the rabbis that are here to teach us the correct way. What does the Torah want from us? What does Hashem want in His infinite wisdom when He decided that man and woman should get married to each other? If you ask anybody, it's set up for disaster. And we see that the world out there today, 50% plus divorce rate and so on and so forth. And within the community itself, it's taken its toll. But we have to understand that the Torah is timeless, the Torah has the answers, and the Torah has the guidance that we need. If I can quote Rabbi Kavatz from Eretz Yisrael, he says, En zug lo mutzlach, yesh zug lo mudrach. It's not the fact that they have couples that are not successful in their married life, it's because they're not educated enough to understand. He says and he claims, I can take any man or woman, teach them what they need to know about married life, and they'll be able to have a happy life together with each other. I truly believe that if you have the correct education, you have the right mentors, you have the right guidance in your life, you'll be able to succeed in your married life. And B'ezrat Hashem, we should be zocheh to have the wonderful marriages that we're supposed to have and we should have, and be the examples for our children in order to raise them in the right way, B'ezrat Hashem. I guess religion is always a tough, a sticky subject between the couples. A lot of times the question is, when you first were going out, when you decided to get married to this individual, what level were they holding by? Did you know that they were on a different level than you to begin with, or you're both on the same level and things start to change after you got married? So that always plays an important part in terms of, you married me, this is who I was, this is who I am, and why don't you accept me? It was fine then, why is it a problem now? When things do change over time, it's never easy because the other person has to be willing to accept upon themselves religion, whether it's keeping Shabbat, or for a woman to dress more tzanua, or to cover her hair, or for the husband to get up early to go to davening or to learn. So it's always a challenge. But the main thing is to remember, you can never force religion on another individual. It has to be done with patience and with time. If you have the proper guidance, if you push them, motivate them, encourage them to want to grow, or to give them at least an opportunity to have a support group, or to go to classes, or to shiurim, or to shul, but they have other people that can influence them as well. So sometimes you can say the same thing over and over and over again, and it doesn't hit home. But then when somebody else says something, all of a sudden, this person told me something, and I've been telling this all the time. How come you don't get it? So sometimes it doesn't have to come from you, it has to come from somebody else, from a third party, in order for them to understand it. But the main thing to remember is, don't force it, don't be upset, accept them for who they are. And just like even for yourself, the religion aspect of it doesn't happen overnight. It took time, it was a process in terms of when you got to that point. So give them an opportunity as well, and work with them, be patient with them, try to learn with them, or give them the right opportunities that they should have, the support group or other people to try to help them and to help them grow as well. The effort is based on whose judgment. If the husband is doing his best effort, that's what he feels is the right thing to do, but it might not be what the wife wants or needs, and therefore he's, I won't say wasting his time, but he's not hitting the mark because he's not addressing the problem of the wife. There's a famous author who came up with what's called the 5 love languages. I definitely recommend it for everyone to read it and to understand it, that everyone has their own love language that they need in their life. And everyone is different. So the problem that you have is that if you think that your love language is, whether it's caring behaviors or touch or whatever it is, so you judge the other person based on what you need or want for your own love language, or what things that you want done to you, so therefore you think that the other person wants that same thing. You cannot use yourself as the barometer to understand what the other person wants based on what it is that you want. You have to learn what it is the other person wants and needs, and that's our job. And as a guy, you know that the women, they're not very open in terms of expressing what they want or what they need. They just want to see if the guy is listening every once in a while and paying attention. At times when she drops a little hint, so this is what she wants, does he get it or not? And therefore you have to understand that part of the marriage game, we'll say, is trying to nitpick the other person's brain to try to understand what it is that they want and they need. And our job over time, B'ezrat Hashem, that the other person should at least encourage and help the other person understand what they want and need, because otherwise, he feels frustrated that I'm trying so hard, but it's not really getting anywhere. So the main thing is, as was mentioned before, in terms of communication, sitting down, try to understand each other, and try to take the opportunity to try to understand the other person better in order for you to be able to give to them, and not just do whatever you want and think is the right thing to do. And that you should understand, even the Gemara says that the mother-in-law hates the daughter-in-law. Not for everyone, but there is a tug of war that's going on over there between the mother-in-law and the wife. The mother raised up the child, pregnant, giving birth, sleepless nights. He is what he is today because of the mother. She fed him, she clothed him, she took care of him, and all of a sudden this little girl comes around, wraps him around his little finger, and wishes him off and takes care of him. And she knows how to take care of my sonny bunny. I know how to make his eggs. I know how to fold up his laundry. I know how to take care of his bed. I know I'm going to take care of him. She doesn't know anything. I need to teach her. And unfortunately, they grew up in that society, in that mentality where their mother-in-law took care of them and the little broom, and she taught her how to take care of it. But it doesn't really work today in America. So I tell the guys, the hardest question you'll have to deal with in life is having to choose between your mother and your wife. It's Thursday afternoon. Your mommy calls. Hi, Jonam, how are you? How's everything? How's it going? It's been a long time since you've been to our house for Shabbat. What do you say you guys come over for Shabbat? We'll have a nice dinner together or get together. The family, we miss you. And the guy, of course, wants to get away, wants to go visit his mommy. But he's a nice guy. He tells his mother, listen, wait, I really want to come, but let me double check with my wife. Let me get back to you. We'll call you back later. No worry, call me. I'll wait for you. Make sure it's a yes. Bye-bye. He comes home all excited. Jonam, listen, you don't have to cook tonight for Shabbat. Listen, we're going to our parents' house. Don't worry about it. Everything's taken care of. Let's go. She invited us over. Everything's fine. His wife's like, I really wanted to stay home. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I spend a nice time together with you, a nice candlelit dinner, just the two of us alone. I don't want to go to your parents' house. What do you do? What's the answer? So, if you think about it, we just read last week in Parshat Yitro, Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha, the 10 Commandments, number 5. It's way up there. You have to honor the parents. You would think that what? The Torah says you got to go to your parents' house. And even in Shulchan Aruch it says that the wife has to honor, respect her husband's parents, because by respecting them, she respects them and she has to respect them too. So you would think that what? The Torah says you have to go, the Shulchan Aruch says you have to go. But what's the right answer? The answer is you go. You stay home. You spend time with your wife. So I asked the guys, how is that possible? Where does it say in the Torah that Shalom Bayit trumps and beats out on number 5 of the 10 Commandments? How do you know this? Where does it say? So one guy says, because it says in the beginning of the Bereshit, a person has to get married, has to leave his parents' house, has to cling to his wife, become one. That's very nice. But I'll give you a different answer if you want. I asked the guys, when does your connection with your fiancé, with your wife begin? Does it start underneath the chuppah when you put the little ring on the finger? Does it start by the engagement when you give her the engagement ring? Does it start on the first date? Or does it even begin when you make that first phone call to go out with her? And every guy will say something else, the chuppah, the first date, the phone call, okay. I said, you're wrong. There's another answer I didn't tell you. The Zohar tells us that before you and your wife get married, you are one neshama up in the sky. You are one soul. And when the time came for you to become born, and time came for her to be born, Hashem cuts his neshama up in half, and half goes to her, and half goes to you. You come to this world, blah, 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 and then you come to get married together with each other in this world. The connection that you have with your wife is even older and stronger than it is with your parents. How can that be? Because the Torah tells us there are 3 partners in the creation of a child. There's the mother, there's the father, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And the parents give you your physical body, and Hashem gives you the neshama. Your parents bring you into this world. If you ask the guy a question, when does Kibud Av V'Em begin? When does it start? When you're born, they bring you into this world. They took care of you. The rabbis explain, Kibud Avim comes from the idea of Hakarat Tov, showing goodness and respect and honor and for all the good that they've done for you. They raised you, took care of you, they housed you, they clothed you, they gave you everything you ever wanted. And the goodness of my heart, the least I can do for them is to honor and respect them. And the Bukhari's have a saying, one father can take care of 10 children, 10 children cannot take care of one father. Because what a parent does for a child, the children will never be able to pay it back because you give it from your own heart because they're a part of you. So therefore, your wife comes first. Your obligation is to her. And your first priority, as I mentioned before as well, has to be number one on the list is your spouse. Number two is maybe the children, and everybody else comes afterwards. But you have to understand it. It's time to grow up and to understand what the Torah expects from you. That you have to cling to your wife and leave the parents alone. Don't worry about it. They'll live, they'll survive. Getting to question number 2. One time I had a couple that came over for counseling. And they're sitting there and the wife tells me, Rabbi, don't ask what happened last week. I said, what happened? I said, we're sitting by his parents' house, Friday night dinner, and the whole family is there, and they're all attacking me. It's the wife talking. I said, really? What was your husband? She's like, he was right there next to me, and just nothing. Oblivious to everything. I tell the guy, what do you want your wife to do? If she's going to get up and answer back to your father, they're going to put a big X on her and your life is over with her. She disrespected the parents, God forbid, it should never be heard of. She can't really say anything. That's where you come in. As again, was mentioned before, you have to be the one to get up and to stick up for your wife. If ishto kigufo, if you don't feel that your wife is an extension of you, she is a part of you, she is your other half, then you have a problem. Because only you can answer back to your parents. Because they'll accept it from you. It's okay if it comes from you. And there's a way to deal with it. And if it doesn't end, you can get up and say, you know what, guys? If it's not going to stop and end, we're going to get up and leave. That's okay. You can do that. She can't. So it's your responsibility to make sure that you stick up and defend your wife because that's what she wants and that's what she needs. Of course, there has to be boundaries between the in-laws and the couple. Okay, it's very difficult sometimes for the wife because of the way the dynamics in society is set up with the Bukhayan community. So we have to understand how to play the game properly. You have to get your husband on board to make sure that he understands his responsibility. And it's not a disrespect to the parents by you sticking up for your wife and understand that you need to have your own space and your own time. They can't just walk in whenever they want. They can't just do whatever you want. They can't just say whatever they want. It's your responsibility as the husband to make sure that you're together with your wife and as a concerted effort, as a team, you'll be able to overcome everything. That everything should work out as well. The problem that we have today is that the only way we know how to discipline is by yelling and screaming and hitting, is because that's the way we learned from our parents. So that's how they disciplined us, and that's what's been ingrained within us, and that's the only way we think is the way to discipline our own children. But as we see today, that's not the way to go. In the days of old, you would just look at the child, and he'll just be embarrassed, put his head down, and maybe do other things in his pants. But today, the kids they'll look back at you, they'll answer back at you. They're a little bit more, I won't say chutzpahdik, but a little bit more brazen than they are of the days of old. So the ways of parenting of old doesn't really work today, and a lot of the rabbis have said over the years is that the only way to discipline a child today is through love, and with a nice way, by not being so hard on them and difficult, and disciplining in ways that you have to expose yourself to other methods and techniques and strategies that are out there today in terms of how to discipline a child. Somebody mentioned to me before, the pasuk tells us, "Chanuch l'nar api darko." You have to educate the child according to his needs, and every child that you see within families that have multiple children, every child is different. And some children are very obedient, and some children are very offensive and oppositional and problematic, and that's fine. And God decided to give you this special child for you to take care of, because you and your spouse are the ones that will be able to educate this child in the best way that's possible. Of course, you have to be an example of what it is to be a mensch and a woman in terms of having values and ethics and morals and behaving the right way. Working in yeshiva, you see children that are very angry and also resort to hitting. Where do they learn it from? I mean, you might argue they're learning it from the TVs, from the movies, and whatever's out there today, but a lot of times, a lot of the curse words that they come with and the hitting aspect of it, they learn it from their parents. They learn it from daddy, we'll say. Because the kid knows that when daddy gets angry, he hits somebody. And therefore, when I get angry in school, somebody's going to bother me, I'm going to hit him because that's what daddy taught me. So is that the education that you want to give over to your own children? So you have to, like I said, try to learn, read up on other methods, speak to other rabbis, other mentors, therapists, in terms of understanding the different ways that there are to educate and to discipline the children. It doesn't have to be, losing your temper, losing your patience, and resorting to hitting. It's for yourself as well to learn how to control your anger, which is an important aspect for everyone. Anger management is definitely a problem for a lot of couples today, and they have to definitely work on it. But the kids' job is to press your buttons. That's what they're here for. Okay, so we have to understand that we don't let them press the buttons, and we're the ones that try to discipline them in the right way. And Hashem should be zocheh as well. Hashem should open up your eyes and give you the clarity to understand how to educate the children and to raise up a beautiful family as well.